So, it is 9:03 on the 9th of September 2019. It is my birthday. I am 37 today. Thank you so much to everybody who has been sending me messages on Facebook today, on Instagram. I've had tweets of people. I've had emails of people as well, which has been lovely as well. Texts, phone calls. It's amazing. I think like so often we can forget how many people there are around us who, genuinely give a shit, which is nice, isn't it? And I think on a day like your birthday, you get reminded of that. So hugely appreciate that, even if I've not spoke to you in donkey's years and you just took 5 seconds out on Facebook to write happy birthday. It means the world. Thank you very much for doing that. That's kind of themed tonight's broadcast. What I'm going to be doing and talking about tonight is all going to be based on the fact that I hit 37 today. I'm going to be sharing with you guys I sat down before, on the train on the way home. I did a voiceover before on the train on the way home. I was like, right, what can I talk about tonight? And I thought, you know what? There's been a lot of stuff happening in my life in my 36th year. Literally start my 37th today. And I was like, right, I'm going to talk about the top 5 lessons that life has dealt me. I'd like to say that I learned them, but I didn't. Life forced me gave me these lessons, forced me to learn these things. And they apply both to your acting career, to your life, your personal life. These aren't stuff that are just primarily geared for actors. Anyone who's listening or stumbled across this feed, or if you're listening on the audio experience on iTunes or Spotify, massive thank you for tuning in. Or if you're watching on the replay on YouTube and you're not an actor and you've no clue who I am, just stick around, for the next 30 minutes or so. We're going to be here till, if you're on live, we're going to be here till about 10 o'clock, so for the next 55 minutes, but at least give it a shot for 30 minutes or so. You might find some of what we're talking about applies to you, regardless of what industry you are in. Huge shout out to everyone who has joined live tonight. Ollie's just joined, Ollie Hewitt's here, Wendy's in the house. You are right, actually, Ollie, of course. Okay, I've got this wrong straight away. Of course. I'm 37, thus this is my 38th year, because obviously there's a 0 to 1 year. So these, okay, so actually I've labelled tonight's broadcast completely wrong. This is the lessons that my 37th year on Earth have taught me. This is why I went into acting and not maths, Wendy. Thanks for that. So I am. Of course, this is my 38th year. Oh God, that's made me feel even older. But you know what? As I've got older, I feel more hungry for life and to chase stuff. And I don't know what other people's thoughts are on this. There's people of all different ages on here, but it's definitely true that the older you get, the faster time goes. That's something I've learned massively. It's not one of the life lessons I'm talking about tonight. I'm going to put a presentation up for you in a minute with some slides. We're going to do it properly. I feel like the most capable I've ever felt. And there's a huge hang up really. You can get, I'm approaching 40, technically middle age. I don't feel anywhere near middle aged. And I don't feel like anywhere near, I'm remotely thinking of calming down or wrapping things up. I don't think I ever will. I think I'll be in my 90s and I'll be like, come on, let's go, keep doing this. And I think that's good in terms of, I think you should expect your life to get easier the older you get, it should get easier the older you get. Because you should be learning from every year you're on the planet, hopefully. Becoming more capable, improving on yourself, investing in yourself, your health, your body. There's certain things, obviously, the aging process we cannot control. But if you do invest in yourself well enough, I work out in the morning with guys who are anywhere between 84 and 93. I always tell you about Neil, the guy who doesn't know how old he is because he's forgot how old he is. That's the guy I work out with in the morning. He's 93. He's always on the treadmill in the morning. It takes him 20 minutes to get there from the door to the treadmill, but then he's on it for the next hour, and he works out pretty much every day, Monday to Friday. Sometimes he'll have a Tuesday off or a Thursday off, but he's 93. Now, in his head, I'm sure when he was younger, the picture of a 93-year-old in his head was not one who sat in a chair all day doing nothing. Thus, he has embodied his version of what a 93-year-old should be. One of the other guys work out in the gym with 70, and honestly doesn't look a day over I honestly would think he'd be 50. So if you invest and you keep your mind young, keep your body healthy, it's not all downhill after 40, I tell you that. Linda says her best years were 34 to 37. Linda, you've got the best years ahead of you. Let's keep it optimistic. Steve's not sure either. Steve, you're only 50, mate. You got bloody bags of time. Caitlin's in the house. Thank you, Caitlin, for the birthday wishes. Andy says I'm still a baby. I still feel it, honestly. I've got a lot of living to do. definitely. So thank you for joining Maggie. Amy's here, Sharon's here, Gary's here, Janet's here, Leroy's here, Peter's here, Fiona's here, Larry's here. All those people who aren't here live and you're listening on the audio experience or you're watching on YouTube, look at what you're missing. All these people. If you didn't know your age, how old would you be? Said Glyn. Do you know what? It's a real tough one because I felt I knew it all at 18, realised I knew nothing by 24. Then I felt I knew it all at 25, realised I knew nothing when I hit 30. And then the same thing's kind of happened again at like 35. I honestly don't know how old I'd be if I didn't know how old I was. I mean, maybe like 30, something like that. I don't think, honestly, every year up to now, I'm getting better. So it's not like I want to rewind and go back a few years. I feel like I'm obviously gonna peak at some point where I'm like, okay, now it's harder. Life is more difficult. I can't get up as early in the morning and I can't work out. But for now, I'm all right, Glenn. So I don't know. Reed's here. Steegie Wayne's here. He says, if we could control the aging process, I wouldn't have a receding hairline at 23. Steve, don't worry about it. I'm fighting it as well. There's definitely a bit of recession on the old hairline for me. There's always, hair transplants, mate. I think they're only 15 grand. Get Glyn as your accountant. He'll help you bypass that as a tax write-off or something. It'll be fine. So tonight, guys, I'm going to put a slide up. I'm going to do a little presentation for you. All right, Mike, how you doing? 5 lessons from... This is wrong now. These slides are all wrong, but ignore the 36th year on Earth. This is my 37th year just gone. I'm entering my 38th. So these are actually 5 life lessons from my 37th year on Earth, even though it says 36 on your slides. And if you're listening on the audio experience or you're watching on the replay and you want to download the slides I am using now so you can actually see them, have a look in the show notes on the podcast app you are on right now and you will find a link to them so you can just download them for free. Right, let's get these slides up on my screen. Let's have a little look. It's my birthday. I should have had that song. Yeah, happy birthday. I don't think you're allowed it for copyright reasons. But it's my birthday today. Today, the 9th of September 2019 marks my 37th birthday. Still seems weird saying that. A lot has happened, right, in the past 12 months. Some good, some bad. The good stuff, right? I bought my first apartment. I mean, that's late in the game, isn't it? 37. But, remember what I always say. You ain't on, you're on your own clock, right? Don't compare your stuff to anyone else's, right? Please don't do this. If you're looking at someone else who's bought a place and you mark that as a milestone of success, it's bullshit, right? I don't even know if it's a good idea to do these days. I really don't know if tying up all the money I had to tie up in this apartment has been a good thing for me. I'll talk about that in a minute. But don't compare what's going on in your life to anybody else's, right? You just remember, you do not want what that person wants in total. You might want something that they want, but you don't want everything that they want in their life. There's no point in comparing yourself to them. It's nonsense. It will just hurt you. Or if you're comparing yourself in a good way, going, oh, look, I'm amazing. And, you're not better than anybody, right? Just it is what it is. And you're on your own clock. You're not early. You're not late. You're perfectly on time. Bought a first apartment. I booked some great acting jobs in the last 12 months. Not all of the ones that I wanted. Again, we're going to talk about that tonight. I've had some good ones. I've missed out on some big ones as well. One thing that has been great is I've doubled the growth of my business. Act on This has doubled its membership only in the last 2 months. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well and how that's kind of happened, because that was something that I would never have been able to do on my own, and there was a big lesson in that. Okay, if I'd have carried on doing things the way I'd always done them over the last 8 years, I would just have what I'd always had over the last 8 years, which was a okay business, but a lot of frustration about why it wasn't growing. And you know what? The only thing that was stopping it from growing was me. Okay, and that was a lesson that I'll talk about again tonight. So I've also, there's been some big losses this year as well. I've also lost some of my closest friends this year, 2 in a week, a few weeks ago. I missed out on the biggest acting opportunity in my life this year. Well, in the previous birthday year. And I was really struggled as well with some stuff that I don't really talk about on these live broadcasts, but some personal relationships and stuff in my life have been there's definitely been adversity there. At times really big adversity that has affected other areas of my life, because we all know, and I say it a lot, that every part of your life affects every part of your life. And if your personal relationships are not right, generally, then lots of other areas of your life become not all right. So that's something that we all have to work on as well. That's I've definitely faced that in the last 12 months as well. And that's probably never going to fit. Like, there's certain elements of your life when it comes to relationships in general that are like, this is always going to be work in progress. So number one, right, I'm going to go through the lessons. There's just 5 lessons. These won't take long to go over. But I think they are important. These were like 5 things that really stuck out in my head. And the first one is that it's always going to be scary until you've done it. And I'll elaborate on this as well, because I've kind of tied this in with buying my apartment, but there's lots of other things where this has cropped up in the last 12 months as well. So I started off the year buying my first apartment. And as an actor, and anyone on here is a freelancer or an actor, any kind of creative where you don't have an employer, you are self-employed, the banks make you jump through the most incredible hoops in order to get any kind of mortgage out of them. It's insane. And the amount of I think they've got it all wrong, right? If I was employed by someone who gave me a job, like when I used to work in game in the Trafford Centre, right, I hated my job. Well, for the last 9 years of it. The first couple of years were all right because I was 16 and loved computer games. The following 9 years were pretty shit because I just wanted to be an actor. And I wasn't doing that working at game. But I was full-time employed almost, right? So I had a salary. Now, it would have been easier back then working for minimum wage to go and get a mortgage if I had a deposit than it would have been, I think, when as an actor, as a freelancer, and really that's wrong because as a freelancer, as an actor, I've got income from my acting, I've got income from my business, I've got income from my voiceover career. If one of those employers goes down, then I've still got income from another 2. Whereas if I lost my job working in game, I have no other income anywhere. So why do banks, Glyn Jelly, you might be able to answer this as an accountant, why do banks think I'm way more high risk as a self-employed person when I have multiple income streams than if I was employed by somebody that if they went bust, I would have no income at all? Bit backwards, but ultimately, cut a long story short, I had to put 40% down on this apartment in order for the bank to approve me a mortgage. Now I was, only lending 60% of the price of the property. So, had I defaulted on that mortgage, there's already 40% of it paid off. They could have easily flogged my apartment for more than it would, 60% worth of the value. But they made me jump through loads of hoops, and I got a phone call in the end going, "No, we're not giving it you." And I was like, "Man, you don't know. I've just put 5 months into this." And if you're now telling me that I can't have the mortgage, this is all going to fall through. It was real kind of touch and go. And I played on my Scottish heritage because the guy on the phone was Scottish. I was like, "Mate, my surname's Grant, right? My dad was Scottish. You're Scottish. Let's pull together as Scots." And I don't know what happened, but a few hours later I got approved anyway, so it was fine. But I went from ultimately I had to put every single, and I really mean almost every penny I had in my life into my deposit. So I went from having real financial security where I could just buy whatever I wanted. I didn't have a house and I lived at home, with my mum, which is not a great thing to be doing when you're 36. It's not cool for the ladies when you're like, "Oh yeah, can't go back to mine because my mum's there." But I had saved up, a large deposit, so that was, kind of like the silver lining there. But I had that in the bank, and then I literally the next day had just a couple of £100, and it was scary. I was bricking it, right? I then had a mortgage as well. I had more debt in my life than I'd ever had before, and I was an actor with hardly, any consistent kind of income, and I'm like, holy shit, this is really scary. And I remember lying in bed here my first night in this apartment going, right, you literally don't have enough money for the bills this month. You're going to have to really do something. And it forced me to relaunch a program that I normally only launch once a year for actors called Bulletproof Actor. It's a really great program, though. It's all about mindset and ultimately getting shit done, facing your fears, doing stuff. It was very apt for this moment in my life, actually. You go to bulletproofactor.com if you want to find out more about that. I thought, I'm going to have to launch this program for a second time within this year because I'm going to have to generate some income. And it forced me into doing that. I wouldn't have done it had I not had this pressure. And that brought another 5 figures of income. I did about 11,000 quid on that launch. I thought, okay, right, I've got my buffer now. I've got, a few months' bills in the bag. And it made me realize going, wow, you know what? You're not going hard enough in your business. Why didn't you do that anyway? Why did you have to wait to almost having no money before you actually decided you were going to actually, put a product out again? And there'll be a lot of people on this call right now who think they're doing enough in their acting career because it's ticking over and you're doing all right and you might be comfortable. And that's where I'd got into a very comfortable position where I didn't need to launch that program again because I had loads of money in the bank. Then suddenly when that's all gone, I'm like, holy shit, I need to actually do something about it. And I did it. Why didn't I do that when I had the money in the bank? Because I would have had even more money in the bank. So what are you doing in your life right now where you're content? And this might not even be something to do with money. This could be anything. But where are you most content and comfortable right now? And where are you sitting back? Because that's what I had to ask myself. Where else am I sitting back in my life? Is it in my relationships? Is it in getting more acting work? Is it in this business? Do I really believe I can create the business that, I thought I could create when I first started out? Because we can, if we're not careful, get complacent and just get comfortable. Gary says, can relate. I hate being this comfy. Really, don't really need to do much. Honestly, so true, innit? So true. And Bobby says, at least you had enough to buy a £6 fish. And what Bobby's referring to there is an interview I did with Asan Jai. He plays Ellis in Emmerdale. I did a podcast with him, and that's on this.tv recently. If you go over to the website, I'll show you. You should honestly, this is one of the most inspiring interviews I've done, really. On that's on this.tv. If you don't know what this is, by the way, this is a website that I run for actors where I sit down with some of the biggest actors, directors, casting directors, agents, writers, producers in the industry. If you go into the What's New section here, it's 200 hours worth of podcasts on this site, and just type into there Asan, which is ASAN, and it'll come up here. Maintaining a winner's mindset with Emmerdale's Asan Jai. There's there's a preview of it there. If you're a member of the site, you get access to the full. I think it's an hour and a half. It might even be longer. Asan brought a bottle of Hennessy round. We basically got drunk doing this podcast, but it made for a very honest podcast. And Asan talks about a time where he, as an actor, he had £6 or something like, £6-7 to his name. That was it. And he went into this fishmonger's and he just wanted a fish. And the guy behind the counter asked him, was like, how much is the fish? And he was like, oh, mate, yeah, it's like £5 or something like that. And or $5.50. And Asan was like, right, I'll have it then. I'll buy it. And he took it home and cooked it. And then he sat there quite content after he'd cooked it and went, right, I now have 50p to my name. Like, what the hell am I going to do? And at the time, he was going to auditions in London and hiding in the toilets because he couldn't afford a train ticket. And the guard's like knocking on the toilet, and Asan's like, mate, come on, please go. And it forced him to take loads more action than he would have done. And then he lands Emmerdale. Well, he landed Casualty before that, and then he did Emmerdale. So he, that fear really kicked his ass as well, like it did with me. So just realize that everything's going to be scary until you've done it. And once I'd done it, and like I say, I'd raised that money through doing that program again, and then a couple of months go by and you realize you can afford to do this, you think to yourself, God, why didn't I do this like years ago? And maybe you wouldn't have been ready, but I think I might have been. I was like, you know what? I think maybe I probably would have been, but it was fear that was holding me back and stopping me from doing it. And I was too comfy. Like Gary says, when you don't have to do anything. Thank you, Anne, for the birthday messages. When you're comfy, you don't, you just sit back. You don't have to stretch yourself. So that was a huge lesson that I learned this year. It's always going to be scary till you've done it. And then you're probably going to think, shit, why didn't I do that? Like, a long, long time ago. Think back to anything in your life that's been scary before you did it. I bet, going to school, really scary, wasn't it? So you did it. Sitting your exams, sitting your driving tests, something I've never done yet because my eyes don't allow me to do that, but hopefully one day. Asking a girl or a boy out, getting married, getting engaged. The guys on here have actually proposed to women, or women who propose to women, or anyone. If you propose to anybody, think how scary it was before you did it. And then you're like, oh, why didn't I just do that? George Bukhari's in the house. How are we doing, George? Hope you are good, mate. Well, George, were you on a private jet the other day going to an acting job? What the hell was that? You were going to a costume fitting. Was it in a private jet, or were you getting flown to it? I need to know what that was about. I saw that on your Instagram story. I'm like, what job's George got now? Where is it? Private jets involved. Mark Joseph in the house. All right, Mark. So that was lesson 1 that I learned in the last 12 months. Always going to be scary until you've done it. So if it's something in your life you're sitting back on, just freaking do it. George is watching from London. So you have got a job, George, or otherwise you'd be in Manchester. Tell me what your job is, mate. And Bobby says, I've allowed myself to slack off tackling my voiceover ambition since my live action commitments took up a lot of my time, but not all of it. get back into it, Bobby. But yeah, let's got a few, pal. George, now you're just showing off. Give me one. Bloody hell. My God. Well, ring me or text me later, let me know what they are. So yeah, always gonna be scary, so you've done it. Number 2, right? This is something I'm still really struggling with, right? You cannot do everything on your own. Build a team, even if it costs you. And I mean, if it costs you money up front, build a team around you. Michael's a pilot. Nice one, Michael. So we've got a pilot. George is flying private jets. Right, Michael, we need to be friends with you if you've got access to private jets. Because it'd be nice to have a going one. So this year, yeah, I tried to, right? I really haven't got the hold of this. Honestly, just going to be completely honest with you. I still struggle with this daily. One day I'll be great at this, and the next day I freak out again. This year, I have faced one of my biggest challenges head on, right? And it's letting go of control. I'm a real control freak, right? And I know where this comes from. Because I can't control the degeneration of my eyes, right? So those who don't know, I've got this eye condition where my retina's it's a degenerative retinal condition. So losing my eyesight. And I have no control over that. Now, I know I overcompensate in other areas of my life for that reason. That's why I have to be so financially in control. And because if there comes a point where I can't work or something, because of this, I'm like, I need to know that I'm set. Which is great on one hand because it spurs me forward. It makes me take action now. It suffocates all my other excuses. Nothing else in my life, that I face is ever going to be as bad as this. So actually, none of the other shit matters. Someone said to me the other day, well, do you never get stressed about all this stuff that they were getting stressed over? I was like, no. I mean, it's all relative for them. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't get stressed over it. It's relative to their life. But I was like, no, because in my life, that doesn't matter. Because there's things that are a bit bigger than that like take precedent that I'd stress over more than those things. So those things I'm not bothered about. But control is something that I am bothered about a lot of the time. I'm still not good at it. But by giving up some control over the last 12 months and delegating tasks and building a small team around me, I mean a tiny little team of like 3 people, 4 people, on a part-time basis, not all like working with me full-time, I managed to more than double, like I said before, double the revenue in my business. We more than doubled the membership of actsonthis.tv in the last 9 weeks. It took me 8 years to get it to a certain point, and then we doubled it in 9 or 10 weeks. And a lot of that was down to social media and really going hard on social media, Twitter, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Spending money, that wasn't budgeted for initially, wasn't really in the budget, but I knew I just had to, even if I was going to be at a loss initially and it was going to cost me initially to begin growing this. Maybe I'd start off on a loss. I was like, look, I've got to do it because if I'm going to do what I've done for the last 8 years, I'm going to have what I've had for the last 8 years, which is a membership site that is not as big as I would like it to be. And I brought on Ollie Reynolds, who you'll know I've done a lot of podcasts and stuff with him recently, and we did a social media deep dive, a live event for 20 actors in the actsonthis.tv community. We've still got one more live call. That's like 21 hours of in-person kind of coaching on social media. We go very, very deep and pull back the curtain on a lot of like almost the dark arts of social media that I had no idea existed before I started working with Ollie. And working with him and letting him do social media, giving him access to my Facebook ads and giving him access to the back end of Facebook and Acts on This. I'm like, oh my God, I'm giving up all this control. Please don't screw it up. Ultimately, yeah, it's been the best thing that ever happened to the business. Bringing Petch on to film for me. I know I still need to let go of control and relinquish all the edits. I still edit 90% of the video you see on actsonthis.tv. Gary says Deep Dive Live has been so good. Nice one, Gary. It's been a pleasure having you on it, mate. We've still got Wednesday night's live call to do. But yeah, I just realised, right, and it has been hard for me, but you really can't do everything on your own. You just cannot. You will max out, you will plateau, and there'll come a point where you cannot grow any bigger than you are. You will be the thing, and I know I am it, and I'm still it in certain respects. I am still the biggest stumbling block in my business. I am the guy and the thing that is stopping it growing even bigger, and I know I am, and I've got to deal with that. And I have to give up that control. When you've put in 12 to 16 hours a day for 8 years, and you've built this community that's so precious from 0 to thousands of actors, and all you guys watching now, I care so much about it. It means the absolute world to me. When you have to hand that over and that control over. It's really hard, honestly. It's really, really difficult. But I just know that I have to do that. So if there's something in your life that you are controlling, Sharon says the deep dive has been the best thing I've ever been involved in. Bless you. It's amazing. Glyn, my accountant, saying, yeah, he knows I'm the one thing that's in the He knows that I'm the one thing that's stopping my business. Glyn, how bad am I? Look at kind of like, you know what? I still know I need to send you Stripe logins, don't I, for all the Stripe accounts? I haven't done that. That's only because that's probably because of my paranoia about sending like important information over text. I'm like, I can't let go of that control. I have to go and see you, and we'll log in when I'm with you. It's mental. I know I need to just quit it, but I just find it hard. But I'm self-aware enough to know that's a problem in my life. I am not perfect by any means. But if there's something in your life, that you are really afraid to let go of, or you have to have control over, maybe it's a relationship, or maybe it's something in your acting career. I don't know what it is, but maybe you're like, I just have to have control over this and I can't let go of it. Just have a look at it. Look at the situation and go, if I did, well, ultimately, look at what's the worst that could happen. Now, technically, the worst that could happen for me as a guess, I mean, there isn't really a worst that can happen. Even if I gave someone admin credentials and acts on this and they basically wipe the whole thing, it is backed up in multiple locations across the world. I could not blow it up and lose it all. But I'm always the one who's like, no, I'll publish that, I'll do that. And I need other people to be doing that for me in order for me to have more time to do the marketing and actually get out there and tell people about this. But have a look for yourself. What is it in your life that you are not letting control, go of? That if you did, or you built a team around you where someone else could take on those, we call them like the 10-pound tasks. They're things that the admin, replying to, admin or technical support emails or whatever it would be, where you could focus more on the 100-pound tasks, or the things in your business that are the 1,000-pound tasks that only you can do. That in my business, the 1,000-pound tasks, the ones that are high value that only I could do, would be going out and actually sitting with the people I have on the website and interviewing them. No one else is going to be able to do that. But there's loads of people who could edit that for me. There's loads of people who could log in and write an article about it and could upload it to the website and then email all you guys about it. Right now, I do everything. So, I need to let go of those 10 and those 50-pound tasks and those 100-pound tasks and just focus on the ones that, are really, really high value. Deleting your Instagram account is the worst thing, says Gary. Well, don't do that, Gary. I don't know if you can get that back. But yeah, I've got backups of everything. Always, always, always back up your work. And I mean on everything, nothing to do with websites, just back up everything. If you're writing a script right now and it's on your hard drive and it's only on one hard drive and you've not saved it to a USB drive, if that laptop goes missing, gets nicked out your car, you spill water on it, something happens where you just cannot get the data back, it becomes corrupted, you're screwed. Like, back stuff up. I've learned the hard way on that in the past. Alan says, if you were perfect, wouldn't it be tricky being an actor? Oh, it definitely would. I definitely would. There's no such thing, is there? No such thing as being perfect at anything. I like to try and get as close as possible, and I just can't. It never works. And being a perfectionist is ridiculous as well. I think that's a trait I have as well, where it's like everything has to be perfect before it goes out. And I learned a few years ago, and again, I'm still struggling with it, that really you can't perfect something until you've put it out. So you can't perfect a play or a performance, or whatever it is you're doing until you've done it. So a lot of people don't put a product out or put something out, whether it's a course they're designing or a show they're putting on or a crowdfunder they're doing, or I don't know, whatever it is, because they end up not putting it out because it's not perfect, not realizing that until they put it out, the whole definition of perfection means the thing has to exist in the first place. And sometimes feedback from your audience is critical for that. Yeah, Tony Ross is here. He always uses the hashtag not perfect. Definitely. So yeah, Tony's big on that. Steve says, that reminds me, how's your script coming along? I'll talk about that at the end, Steve. It's done, mate. It's written. Actually wrote it a few years ago. I'm just bringing it up to date and tweaking it. Number 3, honesty. This is something that's always been a huge sort of like core pillar in my belief system, but has been proven to me even more in the last 12 months as just being really, really true. Honesty truly is the best policy. Be open and share your feelings up front with everybody. This is one example where this happened, right? There are so many more I could give you, though. I had to have a conversation with my acting agent this year, a few weeks ago, to tell them that I felt it was time to move on. It wasn't down to anything that they'd done wrong, but I still, you know what it's like, guys. I did not want to have, in inverted commas, that chat. That's like the breakup chat, raising that, that concern with, it's almost like a relationship, innit? Like, it's almost like you're breaking up with your husband or your wife, right? I did not want to have that chat. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to have to just go with what I've always gone with. And nobody can have a go at you, or nobody can, kick off really if you are nothing but completely 100% transparent, open and honest. So I decided to lead with, has anyone ever heard of the phrase radical candor? It basically means, putting any concerns or problems or, just opinions across, but also really caring about the person involved as well. So you can be completely, absolutely, utterly honest with no fear of any kind of repercussion, because it's like, look, I'm just going to basically put this exactly how I feel, when this is just how I feel, whether it's right or wrong, doesn't matter. This is how I feel. This is why. What can we do about it? Because I really care about my agents. I've been with them for like 9 years, and they're an amazing group of people. But I was like, I just feel I've been repped by the North, in the North for 9 years. I've done very well in the North. Had a few jobs in the South, but I really want to, build inroads, with more work in London. Without a doubt, as much as the North is fantastic, London will always be the epicenter in our industry for the foreseeable, at least. So I thought, I'm just going to lead with radical candor, honesty. I cannot tell you, actually, in a way, how much closer it's brought us together in this relationship in terms of an agent-client relationship, to the point where I'm like, maybe I don't want to go. Maybe actually, we having such open dialogue means we can now work in a slightly different way to how we worked before. And I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, but it's real. Like, having a real conversation has just opened up. Like, it's just, the relationship is so good. No one kicked off. No one screamed. No one shouted. I didn't try and sugarcoat anything. I didn't try and tiptoe around things. I just said, this is it. This is what's happening. And my agent and everyone at that agency was so open, went and had a chat, and it was amazing. So if you are struggling and you don't want to have that 5-minute burn of a conversation, then go and have it. Like, just have it. But if you lead with radical candor and honesty, then, you shouldn't really have anything to, really anything to worry about. Joseph says, yes, it's a difficult chat. Thank you, V, for the birthday messages. Appreciate that. Alan says, suffers with anxiety. And when having a chat with my agent when I first met her, I just told her my struggles because I really wanted an agent who understands, and now she's signed me, so I'm glad I was honest. Yeah, I think whenever you're meeting with anyone in life, this industry, and you're setting up a partnership or anything, then you have to be upfront straight away, because it just means that you're both going into the relationship like completely cards on the table. You know what to expect. I didn't do that when I went in with an agent once. My agent who I had this chat with, completely my fault. I didn't say I don't want to do theatre. I didn't want to do theatre. I only wanted to do TV and film. This eye condition I've got makes theatre very hard. I've got very little spatial awareness, and I can't see in the dark. So the minute the lights go down for a blackout and everyone's moving furniture, I'm just stood there going, I can't see a thing. It makes it very uncomfortable, and I don't look forward to it, and thus it becomes a chore. Whereas on TV, it's much more forgiving. You can plan stuff out, you can rehearse it, block it, and then if you screw it up, you can have another take. It doesn't matter. So I get on a lot better with TV and film. Didn't tell my agent that, though, because I didn't want to put her off. I was just like, I just really want an agent, so I'll just do anything. And one of the first jobs she sent me for was for a physical theatre audition. I hated it. And I'm on the way to the audition thinking, why am I even going? I don't want to do this. Even if they offer me the job, I don't want to do it. What am I doing? Why am I putting myself through this? And it's because I hadn't been honest. It's just a stupid thing to do. And I phoned my agent, Jane, and I was really honest. And we had a really good laugh at it. She went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have sent you for it if I knew that. And I'm like, I know, it's not your fault. It's my fault, because I hadn't been clear and honest from the start. So just be upfront with everybody. If you're entering a relationship, be upfront and completely honest with people before you go into that relationship, because it's just better. There's nothing to hide then, is there? Steve says, I had to have that chat with my previous agent last week. She blocked me on social media thinking it went well. This is what I mean, mate. But it's just not, it's crazy, isn't it? People need to be grown up and realise that, when you leave an agent or anything like that, the worst thing you can do from either of you is be sour and bitter about it, because it doesn't do anybody any good. It means that you're then not going to go and recommend that agent to any other actors. I would fight Jane's Corner in anything now. The way that agency's been with me, and how lovely and amazing and supportive they've been with me over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I wouldn't hear anybody say a bad word about that agency. I would fight every corner, I could for them. I would recommend them to any up-and-coming actors in the industry who are great. Any talented actors who really want great rep in the North, I would recommend them to. And that's because this has been so good. Had that not been like that, then what am I going to do? Probably not recommend them, am I? So your agent shot her or himself in the foot there, Steve. People just need to just be adults in this industry and just realize that it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal at all. It's just like a business. If one supplier of your tools, if you're a plumber, suddenly started running out of tools and couldn't get you them on time, and you didn't really feel it was kind of working anymore, and Dave down the road was like, mate, I've got a constant supply of these, I've got room to supply you with stuff, and you went, oh, I'm going to try Dave out for a bit. No one would care. Just because it's like you yourself and you are the tool, Steve, you are the tool. It's because we are our own products that people get really hung up on it, don't they? And it's really personal. It's nonsense. Just get over it. Just tell them to get over it. But yeah, blocking your social media is a childish, stupid thing to do. Definitely, that's nonsense. Bobby says, I'm going to have that chat with an actress in my web series about the choices she's making in her performances. It'll be scary for me to raise that, but it'll be for the best in the long run. Yeah, it's a 5-minute burn, right? A 5-minute awkward conversation, Bobby, that will then make the next 6-12 months of your life so much better. Peter's had the same conversation, trying to speak to his agent for weeks, many years ago. Was with them for 15 years, felt I was not being heard, couldn't get a meeting, then left. I got a call while they were in Florida, but too late, I left anyway. Michelle's just changed agents as well. I decided that the most important thing for me and my new agent is to build a relationship. We're only a few days in, but it feels great. Just honesty. Claire Jones in the house. We old drama schoolmates. Claire's here. All right, Claire. Hope you are well. Honesty always pays, says Linda. Agents that like honesty are the better ones, says Michael. It's all about the honesty. Louise, how are you doing? Hope you're good. So that was the third lesson, that I learned over the last 12 months. Just be freaking honest with everybody. And I've had really honest chats as well in the last 12 months with like past like ex-girlfriends. And we understand why the relationship, did not work out so much better because of like radical candor and that real honest chat that we can now have that we should have had at the time. That could have potentially even like saved the relationship. But you didn't want to have it because it was like a 5-minute burn. It could have been awkward. Didn't want to offend anyone. Didn't want to upset anybody. Like, just be freaking honest in every part of your life. Like, it helps so much. So lesson number 3. Lesson number 4 of my 37th year on this planet is this. This is really applicable, actually, because Claire's on here, because me and Claire were at a funeral for a really good friend of ours from drama school who unfortunately passed away a few weeks ago. I had two deaths in a week, two friends of mine, last month, and it really shook my whole world, to be honest. Do you know what? It was the catalyst as well of actually going, I'm gonna look for different representation. It was nothing to do with my agent. It's to do with the fact that I went, holy shit, like life can be very unpredictable and very, very short. Don't take it or anybody for granted, right? Both deaths were in this circumstance were very sudden, completely unexpected. One girl was only 38. My other one of my best mates, Eric James Dean, he was only 68, I think. So young, completely unexpected. And I often talk about life expectancy as being like set at 100 years old. I feel I'm going to live to 100 years old. I feel that is kind of like in modern day, that's kind of like the life expectancy we are looking at right now. And I believe it will improve. Honestly, I think in a couple of generations' time, I'd love to be around to, when I won't be, but to see if it's true or not. I genuinely think humans with, the way that stem cell research and gene therapy is going and technology is going and just general medicine, that life expectancy will start hitting 110, 120. I don't know where it'll stop, but yeah, we're getting to the point where we can't, we don't only kind of stop the aging process in certain cells, but we can reverse it. There's obviously ethical implications there where like nobody's dying and suddenly the world gets completely overpopulated, even though it is already. But yeah, I often look at life expectancies like being 100 in this day and age, and I want everyone on this call to get there. But it doesn't mean everybody will. Not everybody gets there. I don't know 100% if I will. I really will do everything within my power to do that because I really want to be around for a cure for my eyes. If I can hang in there, like there was a first NHS treatment out for a very similar condition to the condition that I've got this week, which is really, really exciting. Can't get super excited about it because it's still far away, but it could mean in the next 5 or 10 years there's a real possibility something could be done about this. So I want to hang in there and just be in this game as long as I can. This was the lesson I learned there at the bottom of this slide. It says when you say you'll grab a coffee with someone, I really mean this. Go grab a coffee, because I had a phone. I'll just tell you about this. Don't mind, and he won't mind me telling this. I had a phone call. So Eric James Dean, those know him. in the Acts on This community. I've still got a picture of him on here. Here's the lad. This is Eric. Absolutely mad as a bag of frogs. It was one of the most loyal guys I'd ever met in my life. Great friend of mine. Was an actor. Great actor. Very funny. Real zest for life. Got into acting late when he was like 60. Really chased it. Got involved with everything that he could. Real great guy. Really helped me build Acts on This.tv over the last 8 years. Could not do enough for me. Solid bloke. And I'm, like anyone on here, right? We all get busy, don't we? We all get really, really busy. And I would say to, Eric would ring me and he'd be like, Ross, when are we getting a brew, mate? And we'd always have a coffee at the Acts on This meetups. I do those once a month in Manchester and London. One at Home Theatre in Manchester that I run on the first Saturday of every month, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. I would love to see you down there. We just had one this Saturday. Have a look in the Facebook group for Acts on This and you'll see a photo of us all there. We hold one in London as well. Wendy and Mel, who might be on the call tonight here, they host the one in London at BFI, the British Film Institute, South Bank, Benugo Bar there, 11 till 2 on the first Saturday of every month. So me and Eric would always catch up there and we'd always get a brew. Occasionally we'd meet up between meetups. He helped me move into this apartment. We would see each other quite regularly. But there were definitely times, and life gets in the way, where I'd be like, I do this a lot to people. I'm like, mate, yeah, we'll definitely get a brew. I just arranged to have breakfast with a friend of mine from school this coming Saturday. And I'm aiming to do it. But, sometimes life gets in the way and something will come in on Friday and I'll be like, mate, I'm so sorry I can't do it. And Eric was a sensitive soul, bless him. And sometimes when we say we'd get coffee and we didn't, he was like, he would take that quite badly. And I get it, he really valued relationships and time spent with people. And we can kind of forget that sometimes. He was a real good reminder of that for me in my life. And he got very ill towards the end of his life, just very, very quickly, very suddenly, in a 2-week, 3-week period. It was out of the blue, completely unexpected. And he was in hospital and it was really not looking great for him. And then he recovered and he got discharged and he phoned me and he said, got a bit emotional and he was like, can I ask you something? I was like, Eric, mate, ask me whatever you like, mate. Like, honestly. And he said, when you say we can get a coffee, will you... I've got the wrong slide up here. Put another slide up. He said, when you said, can we get a coffee? You say, we'll get a coffee. Can we get a coffee? I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, we can get a coffee like now, if you want. And he's like, no, I'm not, I'm not recovered enough yet. And I felt really bad after that. And I thought, no, how can I have a coffee with him? Like, if he's not feeling well, I thought, I'll go to him. So I phoned up Petch, my cameraman, who knows Eric as well. I was like, mate, because I don't drive because of my eyes. I was like, could you take us over to Eric's in Warrington? Like, tomorrow, can we drive over once we've filmed the stuff in the morning? Because I really want to have a coffee with him. I now know, like, really how much this means to him. He's not been well. I would love to see him. So I texted him and I was like, Eric, mate, we're going to come over and see you tomorrow. Like, anytime after 2 o'clock, let me know the time and, we'll come and have a coffee with you. And he texted back and it wasn't like him. So I knew he wasn't well because he texted back and he said, no, honestly, he said just, not up to it yet. We'll see you in a couple of weeks or so. And 2 days later he collapsed and he never really regained consciousness and he died a week later. So I never got to have that coffee with him. And I feel, I would have felt, I feel okay about it in a way because I tried to take the coffee to him. Had I not done that, honestly, that'd probably eat me up. That would probably like kill me a bit to go, God, like you really wanted to brew and like I didn't even try and make it happen. So just don't like, again, it's cliched, isn't it? But don't take any of this for granted, like any of it at all. It's a big lesson that I learned last year. Things that are really unexpected can happen and people can go and be taken from your life. My dad died within 12 hours of a heart attack. Well, we didn't know actually he'd had a heart attack a couple of days before that, but he was so bloody like stubborn. He just thought he had heartburn. It's like, Dad, half of your heart's died. He just took some Gaviscon, cracked on. But yeah, I completely did not see that coming at all, with my dad or with Eric, where it's like, they're here 1 week and, well, my dad was here one day and not the next. Eric was here 1 week and not the next. So if you're going to have coffee with someone or you're going to arrange it, go and do it. Make it happen if you can, because you don't know if that'll be the last chance you get to do that. So that was life lesson number 4. And then number 5, I want to end on a high. Let's not end on a low. Equally, right? Your life can be transformed for the better in an instant, guys. So yes, it can be transformed for the worse, like that when you get bad news, but you can change. Your life can change so quickly for the better in one email, and one phone call. And you all know about this. I'll stop talking about it soon. But one email back in August led to the biggest acting opportunity of my life, right? The email was for a self-tape for a job, very personal to me, an acting job for a big US show. 5 weeks later, after doing that self-tape, 56 emails, a flight out there, I was in Toronto for a chemistry read, like a screen test effectively with the lead actress. I was down to the last 2 for the job. And had I got that job, I would have ended up working. The producer on that show was Ben Stiller, right? Hollywood royalty. It really can happen to you. I had no idea that opportunity was coming. An email completely out of the blue gave me an opportunity that would have changed my life had it come off. And in a way, I still haven't written that opportunity off yet. I got down to the final 2 for a large recurring guest star role in that show. I don't know if something else will come up down the line for the same production company in the same show. The same casting actors might be casting something. I don't know. Something could come of that at some point down the line. I couldn't have done any more. I felt it went as best as it was going to go. I wouldn't have changed anything. It wasn't one of those auditions that you come out of and you just want to die. You just want to, go, oh my God, why did that go so badly? It was fine in rehearsal. So hang in there is the moral of the story. Certainly, there's nothing esoteric or special about me or my career. It's like I just hang in there and just deploy patience and work as hard as I can every day. Bar today I've ate cake really and had a glass of Prosecco whilst doing a voiceover, which is nice because it's my birthday. You're allowed to do that. But yeah, just the moral there is hang in there, stay in the game. Amy says that. It says it will happen again. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate the optimism. But yeah, it's thanks for the compliments, Steve. That really could have changed my life effectively. Definitely. It really, Alma says lots to think about. I love to think of the miracle email phone call. It's a real thing, Alma. And we talk about it all the time in passing and tongue in cheek as actors. Oh, just waiting for Spielberg to call. Crazy shit like that could happen at some point. If I'd have been, I could have gone, just waiting for Ben Stiller to phone. Yeah. Oh my God, literally, was one step away from working with the guy. So, and that came out of nowhere. Literally came out of nowhere. So you just don't know. Honestly, if you're feeling like shit right now, just know that it's Monday, and I say this every week, right? And I got this off Dan Ryan, an actor who's a great actor. I interviewed on Acts on This right back in 2012, 13, and he said he gets really excited on a Sunday night because even when he's unemployed, he says, I get really excited on a Sunday night because I think to myself, anything could happen this week. And that's because it has for him. At certain times, he's a bit further on the journey. He's working on some great TV stuff. He seems to always be working, but there's times when he's not. And there was certainly a time where he wasn't, he'd never really worked before. But just stay in the game. Patience and hard work make you very dangerous in this game. Peter says, still on the radar, mate. Yeah, I hope so, man. I really hope so. Kerry, thank you as well. Sharon. Sharon says, one of our acting classes in the running to go to LA and have a life-changing role. We don't know who yet. It's up to the coach to pick whoever's best. All right, interesting. But yeah, it was an adventure, Caroline. Honestly, that was the one thing as well. It was really, even if I tried, I couldn't be kind of bitter about it because honestly, at the time of my life, and Caroline's asking if I was nervous. Honestly, Caroline, right? Not just saying this, now it's all over and I can. I was so prepared. The amount of I've interviewed, I've done roughly, it must be getting on for 400, 500 hours worth of content on actsonthis.tv with Oscar winners, BAFTA winners, Emmy, nominated people, casting directors, actors, writers, producers. The ones who have really had the life-changing roles have always said how prepared they were before they went in. I made sure I was the most prepared I'd ever been for an audition in my life with these 2 scenes I had to do at the screen test. Now, I went in and there was probably 8 or 9 people in the room. That was a mix of writers, executive producers, directors, casting directors. There was 3 people dialed in on a laptop from LA via Skype. So there's probably 11 people plus the leading lady of this show. I have never felt as relaxed in my life. Not to a point where I was like, oh, I'm just dead relaxed. I'm not going to do a good job. Just felt so ready. I was like, this is my time. I've prepared for this. 21 years of my acting career has led me to this point. Let's go. So no, I wasn't nervous. It was very bizarre. It was a serene calm that came over me, and I did a really good job. No lines dropped, didn't forget anything, a lot of banter, great chemistry, I think. Just didn't fit the role, obviously, in the eyes of those people, which is fine. There's nothing I can do about that. So I'm content in terms of going, it's cool. Like, I can't be, I wish the guy who got it all the luck in the world. Like, I think he flew out yesterday. I hope he does a really, really great job. Like, there will be another opportunity for me at some point in some show somewhere. I'm not too worried about it. But it was honestly such an amazing experience. And in my wallet, I've still got 75 Canadian dollars. So they've got to give me a job. Because I've got to go back and spend that. Otherwise, I just don't know what I'm going to do with it. Amy's here. All right, Amy, how are you doing? Matt says, I've been through a very tough time in my career, but things have changed. Lots of positive things have been happening. Good, Matt. It's awesome to hear, man. Honestly, you get what you focus on, Matt. Put those optimistic lenses in the morning and look at life through those, as opposed to, the pessimistic ones. You will get ultimately, you get what you look for. And if you're looking for the bad, you're going to find it. If you're looking for the good, you're going to find that as well. So I see so many that hate Mondays. I don't hate them now. They're the start of a chance to get an amazing opportunity. Yeah, I for many, many years really despised Monday because I was doing something that I really didn't want to do. I was working for minimum wage in a shop, putting 40 hours a week into a job I didn't want to have success in. And thus having no time to put anything into the job I did want to have success in. And, it's difficult transitioning out of that situation. If you're in that position right now on air, it's very hard to go, you can't just drop your job and just go, that's it, right, I quit. I mean, you could if you've got a financial, blanket there or, a bit of a buffer. But I had to create one. It took me 12 months to transition out of that job. But I had to kind of hit real rock bottom in that job first before I was like, I have to do something about this. So again, it goes back to being comfy. I was very comfy in that job. It paid me enough to just get by in life. And I was kind of content just going, I'll just have a bit of fun for a bit. Because I was afraid of really going after my acting career, I think. Fear was holding me back. So, interesting times. But yeah, if you really hate Mondays, have a look at why. You can do something about it. You might feel you can't, but you absolutely can. So to finish off on these slides, I have no idea what my 37th. Well, actually, I do because that was my 37th. I got it completely wrong. This is now my 38th year on this planet. So I'm 37. This is my 38th year. I don't know what it'll hold this year, right? But I definitely feel more equipped to really mean this, having learned from the lessons above that we just went through. Remember, I really believe in this. There are no failures in life, right? Only outcomes. So something like I absolutely rammed into my psyche years ago when I was building the Bulletproof Actor program for actors. If you learn from that outcome, you are succeeding. So if you've had a shit time recently, and you've not got don't call it a failure, right? If you've not got the outcome that you wanted from that, whether it's a job, a relationship, I don't know, anything in your life. If you learn something from it, and thus you ain't going to make that mistake again, or, that's not going to happen to you again, you are succeeding in your life. And I hope what I've spoken about tonight can add to your success too. There was a quote of a guy that resonates with me because he was blind, but he's still partially sighted, but he was blind for a lot of his life. There's a guy called Mike May. He's a business exec from America. He was blinded at 3 by a chemical explosion. He gained partial sight in 2000 when he was 43 years old. So he spent a lot of his life blind. After pioneering stem cell therapy and some corneal grafts as well. And he says the fun thing about getting older is finding younger people to mentor. And I don't think people necessarily have to be younger than you in order to mentor them. People just have to be, or you have to be, just one step ahead of those people that you're mentoring. And that's what I get such satisfaction out of life, and why I'll jump on a call for an hour like every Monday night and do this and help you guys out, is because I love sharing the wins, the losses, so that other people, can learn from them and don't have to make them. And I just think the more we share with each other, the good and the bad. That's why I'm so, open and really try to push people to also share the losses in a positive way, not in a negative, woe me, please give me sympathy kind of way. If you're going to share a loss, don't just share the loss, share the lesson within that loss as well. And thus you're going to inspire people and people will learn from you. And that's why I think everyone should read more as well. People don't want to read. If you don't want to read, get an audiobook. But if you can, I love books for the fact that, quite a selfish way really, but the person who's written it might have lived for 40, 50, 60, 70 years on this planet, and they put all of their knowledge on that one subject that's taken them 70 years to learn in a book that you can read in a weekend. So you can get 70 years worth of knowledge from somebody over 2 days if you're prepared to put your head in a book, or put some headphones in and listen to it. So yeah, and if you do have that knowledge, I feel it's your duty, my duty, everyone's duty to pass that on to other people. So please share that as well. Everyone's wishing me happy birthday. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Claire says, oh yeah, Claire, who's this? Is this Claire? To Nicola, sorry to hear this happened to you today. What's this, Nicola? What's happened? I don't think I see everybody's comments, unfortunately. I think Facebook kind of selects like top comments, or I don't know how it does that. So I'm sorry, I can't see what's happened there. Talking about kids, I think, because Claire says it's hard enough being a parent without people commenting on something they know nothing about. They don't know you or know what you do on a daily basis. I find it very hard being an actor parent, constantly struggle with guilt in lots of forms and juggling childcare. The last thing I need would be someone shaming me about it. Yeah, honestly, please, it's really easier said than done, this, but like you gotta get very quiet in your own head. You know, fill your ears with positivity, even if it means literally shutting the world out, putting a podcast on, putting motivational stuff in your ears and listening to that all day if necessary. Get very, very quiet on, the outside world and taking in other people's opinions of you. So many of them are based on envy, jealousy. Hurt people want to hurt people, something I say a lot. The people who are putting out the negativity in the world, don't blame it on social media. It isn't social media, it's people. People go, Twitter's so negative. No, it's not. People are so negative. Twitter isn't negative or positive. It's down to the people who use it. But if people are putting out hate into the world, they're hurting. They're full of pain. They need more love than anybody else. But ignore them if they're draining you. Get very quiet in your own head. Value your own opinion of yourself more than anybody else's opinion of you combined. It's very difficult. It's much harder to do than it is to say. But when you do start valuing your opinion of yourself over everybody else's, because your intention is pure and it's coming from a good place, life gets very easy very quickly. So yeah, Nicoletta, stick at that. Ignore them. It's cliched, isn't it? But honestly, hurt people. Those people are in pain. I have never in my life read something online, regardless of what I've thought of it, someone else's status or something someone else has done, and commented negatively on them. I've never trolled anybody because I'm happy. Like, I have no time, to do that. I would have no inclination. I'll scroll past it if I don't agree with it. Only people who are in a really bad place have time to do that. And when they go out of their way to do that, they're really hurting. A lot of people write books on what they don't know about or need to know so that they can develop the knowledge for themselves. It's good to learn and share. It is, Fiona. Always good to learn and share. Wendy can't see any comments today because of the gremlins. I can see some of them, Wendy. I just can't see all of them, unfortunately. Nobody doing better than you ever criticizes you. Think about that. And you know what, Janet, though? Even if they do, if people who are doing better than you, whatever that even means, and they do criticize you, then that's even worse. That's even worse. Like, that's just crazy. Yeah. Madness. So it's been useful for you. It's 1 minute past 10. I'm going to let you go in a second. Myra, you've just joined us, just as we're calling it a day. I don't know if everybody's been able to get on here tonight and stuff. It seems like the people have been dropping in and out. I don't know if the connection's been all right. Look, it's fine my end, but sometimes Facebook. We had this last time, didn't we? Where Facebook just goes a little bit crazy and doesn't give everybody like a really stable feed. So apologies if that's happened, but. This will be online as a replay shortly after this, and I also upload the replay of this to YouTube. So tomorrow it'll be on YouTube, and for everyone here as well, it's available on iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher as well as audio only. So the day after I do this as a live broadcast, it goes out on Spotify, Stitcher, and iTunes as a podcast. Just search for Act on This TV, all one word, in those apps, and you'll find it. Subscribe. You'll get a brand new episode given to you for free every single week. Do come over and check out actonthis.tv. If you're not a member of the site, come and join the community. Actonthis.tv. Get access to all of these podcasts with the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, producers, a private community in the members area here that I'll show you, where you get to hang out with all the people in the community, ask questions privately behind closed doors, things that are like maybe you don't want to put out publicly. That's why I won't stay in there too long, just so we don't put anything out that people might not want to see. This is all of the these are all of the podcasts you'll get access to. Just incredible names, incredible people. Julie Hesmanhouse there. We've got Danny Miller, Peter Dixon, the voice of the X Factor, Susanna Fielding in the New Alan Partridge, Lydia West, and Years you might have seen recently. Rick Carr, just in Brassic. You've been watching Brassic on Sky One. There's BAFTA-nominated Ruth Madeley there. Rob Collier from Downton Abbey. Oscar winner Rachel Shenton. All these agents that we've got here. We've got more agents coming on. Loads of casting directors. Cast the biggest TV that's out there. There's absolutely shed loads of those. And these are video interviews. These are live broadcasts like Q&As that you can get involved with. Some are podcasts. These are with directors that we've got here. These are other industry pros. Glyn Jelly, if he's still on the podcast, if he's still on the broadcast tonight, there's Glyn. Look at Glyn, best accountant in the acting industry. Honestly, you might think, I don't want to listen to a podcast on accounting. If you want to save money and you want to really get your finances straight and really understand what you're doing as an actor so you can maximize all of your earnings, you're doing yourself a massive disservice if you don't have a decent accountant. Glyn is the man. So check that out. So there's just loads. We've got so many podcasts and broadcasts and videos on here. You get access to it all for £2.50 a week. It's absolutely cheap as chips. Cannot make it any cheaper for you. And those who are on the deep dive as well, the social media in-person event, by the way, if you go into your, because you only have this if you came on the event, in your members area now, you'll see I uploaded all of the video, 10 hours worth of in-person video. We did this amazing event in Media City just for the 20 people on this program. We hired a room in Media City, and we for the whole day we went through the dark arts of social media, stuff that you would not know about normally. If you came on that event and you want to go and recap on anything we talked about that day, I've put all 10 hours worth of that video now up in your members area. We will run this event again, by the way, at some point. Don't know when. This was kind of a bit of a test. Look how many sessions there were. There was like loads of online sessions. We got one-to-one sessions. We got another one-to-one session coming up with everybody on Wednesday, or the in-person event that we held in Media City. There's workbooks, a Facebook group. There's loads of stuff in there. But it was an amazing program we put together. Hopefully you guys will come on that. If you want to get on the waiting list for when we launch that again, it's actonthis.tv/social masterclass. That's actonthis.tv/social masterclass. Get on the waiting list. So I'm going to love you and leave you guys. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Really do appreciate you. I hope what we've spoken about has been useful. I hope my 38th year on this planet is even better than any other year I've had before, and likewise for all you guys as well. Going to be back next Monday. I don't know what we were talking about. It will probably be dependent on what happens between now and then. If you've got any ideas for it, get in the Act on This Facebook group. Let me know what you might want to talk about. Drop me a tweet anytime at ActOnThisTV, at Ross A. Grants, and I will catch you what you're seeing. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, I'll say the magic words. Bye for now.